It's a bit of a dilemma.
Regarding the good old days, as it were, what was it like in Eric's? I mean, it was an incredible sort of convergence of people who all seemed to go off, and find fame or infamy for various routes. I mean, what was it actually like to go to that club?
It was everything at the time, Like I had a job as a chef at the time, trainee chef, and it was I only found it by accident really, because where I worked was right in the centre of Liverpool, and I'd be pottering around, and there's people, this club, and there's posters and stuff. I was into music, but I was like more into your traditional kind of heavy music, Led Zeppelin and Cream and people like that. So, and I just heard about this, and I went on my own. I just went on my own, which I thought was, I was pretty shy really at the time, and it was amazing that I actually just did it and went on my own. And when I got there, Paul Simpson was in there, and Les was in my class at school, and Paul Simpson was in the class above, and so we all kind of knew each other anyway, so it was like, bloody hell. And I just started going like 3-4 times a week. You'd go there even if you didn't have any money, and you just wouldn't worry about getting home. Like I've walked home from Eric's like to where I used to live, which is like 8 miles. Just because what else was there to do? Nothing, It was brilliant. It was fantastic. But at the time we just thought, it was during that whole punk thing, so you felt dead important somehow. It felt like it was like necessary, and it just felt like the coolest scene in the world, I'm sure it did in all the punk clubs, because there wasn't that many punks about, it was it's only later on when it became more commercial, and we just went every night, and there was like so many bands on, saw everyone there, Perubu, Suicide, Devo, tons of people. XTC, wasn't that keen on them. In fact, I threw up on the stage. But that's
you did?
Smashed up. X-Ray Specs, like they used to be one of our favourites. Wire. Didn't see Television because they played before I started going, but only just, Seen them a couple of times since, since they reformed and everything. It was just an amazing place, but nobody, when we started the band, it was like just a bit of a laugh, you didn't think it was going to do anything, or you'd still be doing it 20 odd years later.
So it's a case of things like the Teardrops and yourself and Big in Japan, we're all just friends and just got on the stage and just did it, and then, see what happens.
Well, I didn't even think, let's see what happens. It was just like, I was just doing it to be cool in the club, you know what I mean? To be like one of the heads, Because when I first went there, Les said, "Oh, you can't hang around with us unless you get your hair cut." So I had a big Ramones hairdo, It was like, he had like a Billy Idol.
But this is the Jeff Lovestone thing. Gillian Cope wrote about. He had all his turtlenecks on. And
yeah, I used to wear his mum's cardies quite a lot. But that was all kind of like based on kind of groovy parties we'd seen in films in the 60s, or episodes of Man in a Suitcase, that sort of thing. Les looked a bit like Matt from Man in a Suitcase.
That's on record then.
Mine was Manchester. That was my nickname, Manchester.
Why?
Because I looked like I was from Manchester, because of what I wore, sort of big coats and just miserable looking.
Another question, again, it's my last good old days question, as it were. What was, you've always been known as, when you did sort of through the 80s as being a live band, you'd always do something very different. Things like the Crystal Day, things like the Scandinavian tour when you opened up for yourself, and then they'd have things like the Albert Hall and the Shakespeare thing. What was the maddest tour you went on? Because I'm sure there must have been some belting mad tours in sort of early mid 80s.
The Wee Scottish tour was the best of them. We were doing like little sort of village halls and things up in the islands off the top of Scotland and things like that. That was great. And we went in. There's a place called Wick. It's right at the top of Scotland, and it's a bit dreary place, really. And I don't know, we must have been the most interesting thing that had ever happened, and we played there, and everyone on the street would stop and look at the van. You know, it was a sodding transit van, big deal. So every time we used to go, like Les used to be driving the van, and all these like people would be like looking. It was like Royston Vasey, you know. And he'd put it, we'd start waving and all this, and then put his like indicator flashes on and beep and all that, like, you know. I was like, "What are you doing, Les, you div?" It's just like to make it worse, you know, make us cringe even more. But everyone was like, "Oh, where have they come from?" You know. That was great because we had like a big crew following us around, you know, like load of Bunnymen fans all camoed up and that, and we'd all get on the little ferries to go to these islands. It was great. Everyone would be kipping in the back of vans and stuff.
Is there any sort of band you'd see now that would do things like that at all?
Power are the ones that are, yeah, I don't know whether they've took it from us, but they've definitely got the same sort of attitude and head, you know, that, yeah, I've seen them quite a few times, and they always, you know, remind me of us back then, you know, like they do things like go and get a load of shrubs and stick them on the stage, like we did all that, you know, we used to do all that stuff, and it's just, they've got the same sort of gang mentality, like we're a gang against the rest of the world, and that's what you need when you're like, you know, starting out in a band.
I'd agree with that, actually. Yeah, it's just the reason I asked that was not because I'm a massive Seafire fan, but it's the fact that at present music just seems to be very much of a conveyor belt where people don't really seem to have the initiative or maybe the wherewithal or even the guts to do things like that, because they seem to be told by record companies, if you don't do this, you're going to be dropped.
Yeah, well, that's what happens, doesn't it? You know, it really is hard now because record labels there's no loyalty, they don't stick with a band. If a band, like we went massive straight away, you know what I mean? Like, well, we were never massive, but we were never like, you know, our first records, I think the first one did 30,000 records, I think the first one did 60 or 50, and then the next one did 30, but we didn't get dropped. We would have been dropped, you know. And we owed the record label tons of money all the time, you know, because we were always like getting money off them to go on tour and stuff. I think at the end we owed them like 800,000 quid when they finally did drop us. So we never like were a money making organisation. We're rubbish at it, you know. And we'd spend so much on our live shows and, you know, buying in weird things, tons of camo nets and funny lights, you know.
That was always the link with you with the theatre thing, wasn't it? With Jet Brockman and the rest. It was always.
Got doing the lights now. He's a bit of a theatre.
Is that Nick?
No, Nick does the sound. Well, we used to have a lad called Blagger, and he's busy doing some fashion shows or something in Milan, so he can't do it. But he sent this other bloke, and he's got a real theatre kind of attitude, you know. Nice lad, you know. So it'll be good, you know. Like the thing is now, it's hard to. You know, we just turn up now and we have like a little trailer with our equipment in. When we started, we used to bring our own PA in here. We've had our own PA in Paradiso, you know, early doors. We used to have a truck with PA in, and it's all changed now. All the places you play have got PAs, so we used to bring tons of lights and tons of special things, and we used to have a huge fan as well, great big industrial fan. We used to fill it with smoke, and that was just somebody at the back of the stage plugging it in.
I remember that.
Yeah, and over the wall.
That nearly poisoned me, I think.
Yeah. So, you know, it's just changed now. It's what you can get out of what they've got in the clubs. You know, if you've got a bit of imagination, generally get something reasonable.
Well, thanks very much, Will. That's been great. I'm just going to leave you with one question. How's your dog? Because I saw the picture on the side.
Oh, Dylan. Yeah, he's got sore ears. The trouble with Springer Spaniels is they get crap in their ears. You have to clean them out, and he won't let us near his ears to clean them out. It's driving us nuts. So he's got sore ears, but I'm going to have to get him back to the vet. We did have some drops, but as soon as he saw the bottle, he was off, and he could.
Stubborn, aren't they?